Well, here we go. We're on the road. It is absolutely tipping down. Just working our way. Well, we're actually heading up towards Stonehenge. We're going to go past Stonehenge because we're going off to Titleist. We're going off to Woburn, the Titleist Performance Centre at Woburn. Do you know, we were in a restaurant last week. We were having dinner with the Ping guys and the Foremost guys in Arizona. The waitress come up to us, we were chatting away. She said, "Oh, where are you guys from?" Blah, blah. Oh, she'd been to London. We said, "Oh, what did you visit?" She said, "Well, we visited the castle," which I assume was Windsor Castle. But she then said, "Oh, and we visited the rocks." And I'm like, "The rocks?" She's like, yeah, the big rocks. I was like, "What, Stonehenge?" She's like, "Yeah, that's it, yeah, the rocks." And I thought, that is actually quite a cool name for Stonehenge. So from now on, I call Stonehenge the Rocks. Makes it just sound a little bit cooler, doesn't it? Anyway, we've got a plan today. We're heading up to TPC Woburn, Titleist Performance Centre at Woburn, and Titleist are releasing, or going to be releasing, a new wedge in the new year, as you'd expect. We're on SM10 right now. I don't even know the name of the new wedge, but I imagine that it's probably in and around the spin milled something, whatever that'll be. I did think that the SM10 would have been SMX. That's what I thought. They'd have maybe moved away from the numbers a little bit, but anyway, they've carried it on, so maybe we're moving into SM11, we'll see. To be honest with you, I kind of know a lot of my grinds and bounces now. I've done so much experimenting with different wedges over the years, as you know, and have seen from the channel, and especially with Titleist, but they want me to go through that process. We're going to create some videos around that fitting process for Foremost and Titleist, so it's a bit of a collaboration style video, this one, which I'm really looking forward to. See what different options they've got available. Maybe they've got a new grind, maybe they've got some new bounces, maybe they've got some new lofts, who knows. And we're going to be going to the Scotty Cameron area. There's a brand new area at Woburn, which is called the Barn, I think, or it's like a barn, it certainly looks like a barn. And we're going to be doing some, having a little look at the new Scotty Cameron putters, which I think will be like the new Phantom style range, I think. So, a bit of aquaplaning in there. But, so we're gonna catch up with Henry, who's like the tour fitter or tour guy for Scotty Cameron. He follows the tour around DP World. He's going to be in the barn, and we're going to go through a bit of a fitting process with him and get that filmed. Again, all of this is for Foremost filming. It's not the channel filming. This is why we're trying to create a little bit of behind the scenes for you. So that's the plan. So stick with me. Our next stop will be Woburn with Titleist.
Just roll a couple there to get a feel for the speed.
So historically, I've been a aim right at address, and then I get a little bit of a toe strike on the way through. That's my kind of historic side, but putting has always been pretty good.
Again, so with the changes to the blades that we've done, by increasing the weights now from 20 heel and toe to 40 heel and toe, it kind of gives you a lot of forgiveness on those off-center strikes.
Yeah. When I was over with Ping, I was over there with Foremost.
Yep.
And went on their system that they've got, which is similar to this kind of lab thing now. They got me more, and they said I was more designed for a face balance putter.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with the system that they use, because they kind of classify it into a strong arc, or
yeah,
know, but like
slight arc, full arc, strong arc.
Yeah. For us, it's like more about your face controls 90% of your start line.
Yeah.
Good.
Dead weight. You know, in times gone by, I would be a little bit of a yippy putter.
Okay.
So in especially longer putts, more so than shorter putts.
Where would you say that comes from on the longer stuff? Because traditionally, if somebody has issues with their putting, it usually starts on the short stuff, doesn't it?
100%. It started when I first went to college in the States. I went from what we put on over here as normal greens to very Bermuda style greens. And I think the whole speed and grain and everything got in my mind a bit, and then I was starting to get a bit confused, and then it just got worse, progressively worse and worse from there.
Yeah, so you kind of probably started to overthink your release pattern rather than just letting it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, you know, that was years ago now, and hopefully we've gone through it, but there are times where I can be playing 3-round tournament and it might pop in the second round or something. But you know, I'm there. I'm always if I'm comfortable, I'm always there or thereabouts. You know, from a putting.
You said your tendency is a little bit of a right aim bias.
Right aim bias, and then I would say that I kind of move into closing the face down to accommodate for it.
Yeah.
Again, that's not something conscious. That's just something I've probably reacted to over time.
That's a little bit what we're seeing, and you know, obviously, you know, you'll do that some days better than others, and that's when you'll say that have occasional day. The more stuff that you're trying to manage and control and rely on your hand-eye time and coordination is going to be more susceptible to drop off. We're looking at a number of different factors here. For us, primarily, we're trying to get the player in a really good athletic starting position.
Yeah.
We look at things like eye line.
Yeah.
Normally we like to have it so that the eyes are over a point between the golf ball and the neck of the putter.
Yeah.
So when we're standing too far away from the golf ball, that would generally lead to a right aim bias.
Okay.
So in a situation like that, it's either awareness. Do you know you're standing where you're standing in relation to the golf ball, that orientation? Or is it a putter fitting thing? Do you, like, normally speaking, if the ball is getting outside the eye line, it would indicate that the putter is a little bit too long. But I think in your case, you just need to scooch a little bit closer to it. Doing a little bit of mirror work maybe would help with that. Weight distribution, center of mass. So you do a lovely job there. You're 58% into your lead side. Ball position looks good. Arms hanging naturally from the body. You're not seeing much in the way of tilts. Where we tend to see a lot now, because there's a lot of emphasis on speed and power in golf. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of guys coming in here,
tilting back behind
getting in right side tilt, almost trying to create speed or power, or we see a lot of shift off the ball, which is not ideal in the putting stroke. Yeah. There's your ball to target line. Yeah. Now we can. It's not an issue for us if you get a little bit open with the feet. That can help you to look along your target line, but generally with the forearms, shoulders, and they're going to have an impact on the eye line and then on the shoulder line, and that's going to influence a little bit your path. So when we start getting open there, a little bit open here, that's going to lead to the putter working across the line a little bit. So for me, it's cause and effect. So if we look at your distance from the ball, which we said traditionally will lead to a right aim bias, because you're a really good player, you're going to rely on your hand-eye coordination to try and get it back online from that starting position. If you groove a perfect neutral stroke, you're going to miss right all day long. So there has to be some sort of a compensation built in to get it back online. Yeah.
And that would indicate why my strike location, on the most part, I mean, it looks pretty tidy there, but for the strike point of view, I start to move more towards the toe on the way through. So and I always feel like, because I get the putter moving a little bit left through impact, it moves that strike location a little bit there.
It does. So with that, we alluded to it earlier on, because you got that little bit of a toe strike, so it's given us a little bit of twist. Quintic has shown us that it is every strike you've made has been slightly to the toe side. But with the changes we've made to the putter, by having more weight heel toe, it allows you to get away with that a little bit. So there's a certain amount of forgiveness kind of built into the putter.
And really, when it comes down to putting, would you say that consistency is the key? So even if obviously I'm a decent putter, but technically, you could argue that there'd be some areas that we could pick up on, whether it's strike location, whether it's path, whether it's alignment, eyes over the ball more, things like that. But if I consistently do the same thing and I manage it because I practice a bit more or whatever it is that just as important than just trying to tidy everything up?
Yeah, in some cases even more so.
Yeah.
Like we've seen some of the best players in the world, #1 players in the world, when we've gotten their putting data, wasn't textbook, wasn't technically correct in every aspect, but where they scored really high was always in consistency, because if you do it consistently, you know your output is going to be the same every time. Now that's really of vital importance on the putting green, especially when you get outside of like 4, 6 feet, 8 feet, where you're trying to read a putt and you're trying to match up your speed and your read. That predictability is really key. If you get a ball that tracks out very fast or very slow, then that's going to completely then mess up your read. You'll get one where you blast it through the break, or one that comes up a little bit on the low side. So just being able to manage that output and being consistent with the output is key.
Well, I am just in the middle now of I've just put together a little podcast. I kind of wanted to get this podcast starting. It's called the Locker Room Golf Podcast, and it's going to be a bigger thing than what I'm kind of doing right now with it. But it's a ramble. I've rambled. I was listening to some podcasts, stuff that I kind of like, you know, and I thought to myself, do you know what? People are in a car listening to a podcast. They're not sat watching it on TV. I don't want it to be a video podcast. I definitely don't want to go down that road because I do too much video as it is. So I just wanted to create a podcast, get the opportunity to speak in front of loads of different people. You know, even the people that we've just been to see at Titleist, you know, is there an opportunity to get them in a room with me or even on the computer and just go through what they do, what their journey's been? So I have created this little podcast that I've just made now, which will go out onto the podcast there and rename the Locker Room Golf from Behind Golf 1. If you think about a podcast, if you are somebody that listens to podcasts, you might switch it on in the car. Everybody I know is either listening to a podcast in the background behind them, kind of when they're working or whatever they're doing, or they're listening to it generally if they've got a bit of a journey in the car. And I thought, well, actually, that could be something that I could do. Is not the main part of the podcast, but just like a section of it, which would be the Locker Room Golf, the ramble. So me kind of, I don't know, showcasing a little bit more about what actually goes on behind the scenes, talking about my experiences. For example, last week's Sunday morning show, I went to obviously Vegas, no, not quite Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona, and I kind of saw lots of things behind the scenes. You got to remember that footage that I'm creating is for Foremost Golf. It's not for the channel, it's for Foremost Golf. So I'm trying to create a Sunday morning show of my journey, and I'm allowed to use a few of the clips, which is great, and I thank them for that. But ultimately, I can't share with you everything that's kind of gone on unless you go and see it on a Foremost video. So, but what I can do is I can have a little bit of a ramble about my journey around Ping and what I got up to when I was away, and maybe go into a little bit more detail what goes on in my brain that I don't necessarily have the time to share with you on a video. So I thought the ramble would be quite interesting. Loads of people are always asking me questions about, you know, what are people doing? You know, what's Jordan up to? And, you know, what's Joe's position? And what's my brother up to? And stuff like that. And also, like, what stuff is going on in my business? You know, what's my plan for 2026? And I've just rambled about it. I've told everybody all about it. So I'm going to upload it today. I'm just literally finding some music on here now that might, I think, work with the new podcast. You know, some different types of music. It's a nice one, isn't it? Love, Love, it's called. Oh, it is absolutely freezing outside. Well, my little trip up to Woburn, talking about putters. However, before we just jump into talking about putters, I just want to share with you that I'm doing 25% off sale. Yeah, started it for the Locker Room Golf shop sale, but ultimately it's all DHG stuff that's kind of going out there. So 25% off hats. Still got a couple of the old warmest snoods in golf there. Haven't got any of those woolly hats left, but we do have some DHG merch. So if you want to go and check it out, 25% off, LRG 25. Still even got Sunday morning show woolly hats, which would probably be required right now because it's absolutely Baltic out there. Towels, white towels. Probably not the best colour that I've ever purchased, but anyway, we've got a few of them left. And that's about it. I don't even think we've got any more Sunday morning show. Oh, there's one Sunday morning show merch. So go and check it out. 25% off, the code LRG25 at checkout, and get yourself something for Christmas. So I thought what was actually really interesting about my catch up at Titleist and in the new Scotty Cameron barn, which I'm not even sure how much I can talk to you about that. But anyway, it's a new Scotty Cameron barn. Talking about all the new Scotty Camerons are going to be coming out for 2026. It seems like every year we get a new run, but these ones are the Phantom ones. So these are the mallet style putters, high MOI, more stability, some changes going on into those. But what has been interesting is that obviously I use a blade style putter, so an Answer 2 style or a Newport 2, which is kind of what I've got and have done for some time. And it's interesting when Henry, who the guy was sort of going through my putting stuff with me, he was saying that when he first went out on tour back in, I don't know, let's say 10, 15 years ago, the percentage between bladed style putters, so your Newports and your Newport 2s and some other styles, the smaller ones, it was a 70-30 split. So 70% of the golfers were using the bladed style putters, whereas now, and then 30% were using mallet style putters, so the big ones. So you know, your Phantoms from Scotty Cameron, your Spiders from TaylorMade, things like that. Now it's completely switched over, so we're seeing more players using mallet putters than we are seeing players using the blade style putters. And even though he picked up on maybe there's an area where I could look to create maybe a slightly better, more consistent roll off a mallet style putter, he's really keen on keeping the bladed style putters in place. So I think from my point of view, I made a conscious effort many moons ago to stick with a putter I like. Once you've got it, you know, make sure it's fitted for you properly, all those sorts of things. But once you've got a putter you like the look of, don't change it. And I think actually it's probably done me okay, I would say, over the years. I've held lots of putts, it's kept rounds going, momentum, things like that. It's even got me into positions where I've won things that maybe my game at the time probably couldn't, you know, back it up. But yeah, so I'm really positive walking away from the sort of fitting. Gives me a couple of things to work on. But what he said was, you know, even though you might have a few faults in there, as long as you consistently do it and manage it, what's the problem? And I think that's absolutely right when it comes to putting. It's all about feel. Well, I think that's it for this week's Sunday morning show. Hope you enjoyed it. I've got lots to sort of prep for going into next week, leading up to my trip away. Another box has arrived today, and I can't tell you anything about that one because it's all under embargo. But that's it. Weather's absolutely tipping down outside. I'm heading to the gym now. Got a few things to sort out in here, but I'll see you again on next week's Sunday morning show. Thanks for watching.